Starting off to the top left of the map, we have Genius once again, the player for MVP in the red color. The score is tied. This is the first best of 3 today.
MVP Genius
won the first game, lost the second, and he is up against a new contestant. He is up against a Zerg player in his best matchup. PBZ is where Genius usually shines, and this time he has a hard time against his opponent from the Prime team. Starting to the bottom left of the map, in the blue color we have
BBoongBBoong Prime.
BBoongBBoong Prime, who actually did not all that well against Protoss lately. He lost to Hero in the Raid Call Invitational. We have him with another loss in the KSL. And also in his up and down matches, he was not too successful. He took out Avenge, but he lost to Squirtle, and before that he lost to Tiger. So he won a couple of games in this matchup and lost a few. Not really the best PBZ player if we just have a look at the recent games that he played, but today he's in a superior shape, and just look at it. He steals the expansion of Genius here. I like it. I love it.
So many Zerg players right now are frustrated with this map because of the way it's designed. You very often see a really long game, you know, with Broodlords, Mothership, Archons, because the Zergs have to try to buy time for that on this map. And some people would say that it's so overpowered for Protoss, but if you want to know exactly the stats, it's 12 and 13 in Korea right now, this map, so it's a 48% win rate for Zerg. That's pretty balanced stats speaking. There are only 25 games on it. But even so, I still agree with Zergs in that the way this map is designed makes it very difficult to win. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. So to do something like this, it puts Genius in an uncomfortable position on a map that he chose, and I really like that.
This is something that we see from Slayer's Yu-Gi-Oh! Very, very often. And as you already said, Zerg players try to come up with strategies that they can enforce on their opponent, because it's just so easy for a Protoss player to not only take expansion, but also take a third base, and this is what you usually try to play as a Zerg player, but on this map you really can't. He's even cancelling...
Yep, cancels, makes an extractor, sticks around. Now, if he didn't cancel, he would have left a little bit of creep residue there. It would have taken a few seconds to go away, but I think in canceling in this case is pretty smart.
One of the problems is what you usually try to achieve when you go for Nexus and you try to block the spot. Let's say, for example, on Antigua Shipyard. You kinda try to get 6 Zerglings into the picture and to sneak them into the main base, but the positioning on Entombed Valley is a bit different. Your Zerglings have to run past this cannon all the way, while on Antigua Shipyard, for example, they can try to just dodge the cannon, and the cannon might be able to kill 1 or 2 of the Zerglings, but a few of the Lings will be able to get into the base. On Entombed Valley, it just doesn't work this way.
So you can see the pylon placement right there. Even if he tried, the probe could have blocked, bought enough time. Yeah. The cannon would have prioritized the Zerglings. So
the cancel is definitely a good decision. He would have never had the time to get a queen out and spread creep, which is the perfect thing to do. If this works, if you're able to get a queen out and place down a tumor, the Protoss player is in so much trouble. It's basically nearly unwinnable.
I really like this gas. He's persistently taking the gas to continue to scout with that drone. I really like that because there's no reason not to hardly lose anything from doing so, and it consistently annoys Genius. He can't even take 4 gases if he wants to right now. Very, very frustrating to deal with. And he may even buy time for the Zealot. If the Zealot wants to go scout, he might have to go and kill the Extractor first. This is a situation where now Genius he's gotten back to his normal swing of things. He's got his Sentry on the way. He's going to make a Stargate before Warp Gate research, but he had to make the Sentry before the Stargate just to be safe. So he did get his Stargate slightly delayed. And he wants to scout his opponent's third. I don't think he's been able to just yet, though, because BBoongBBoong has the Watchtower.
What I like about BBoongBBoong at this point is that he immediately attacks the rocks. Because it's just so important that you start not only spreading out creep, but you need to connect the bases. If you're facing a Stargate play, and this is what Genius is known for, then you definitely need access to your third base. If your queens have to walk all around into the middle of the map first before they can go to the third, then suddenly they're just in a position where it takes too much time, and the Void Ray can simply skip over into the main base where there's no queen, so he needs to take down the third if he wants to, well, just defend against some kind of Stargate play, so very nice decision.
This is so fortunate for Genius to be able to scout. Now he's going to even be able to click on that gas, see how much has been mined. Makes a second Photon Cannon as a reply to this. Maybe a little bit too careful there, but now he's going to see the third.
I actually wouldn't be surprised to see Phoenix follow up for the Void Ray here.
Yeah, we may very well see that. He hasn't added any gateways yet.
He didn't do it the last 2 games, but this is that is the first Phoenix
exactly
is being
right.
building, so makes perfect sense on Entombed Valley.
He's not going to fake his opponent out here. He's actually just going to show his sentries, try to stop it, but fortunately cannot stop it.
There should be an evolution chamber. He's already building the Roach Warren, and there is the evolution chamber. He needs to prepare for this. Another queen would also be a good decision for him.
Genius seeming a little bit uncomfortable this game, unable to deny the scout this time. His chrono energy on his next eye seems a little bit higher than usual. He just seems to be a little bit off in this game. He's now adding the gateways, and his +1 is very late if he really wants to hit with the pressure timing here. Instead, I think he's going to be aggressive, fake his opponent out, and take a third. As you can see, he's killing the rocks now. I really think the choice to get a third now would be the better one. You know, because all his timings are a little bit awkward because of what BBoongBBoong did to him at the start.
We also have the queen that I just mentioned, so he's definitely prepared for the Stargate pressure. You have the +1 attack timing, and I agree with the decision to take a third base here. For Protoss, as mentioned earlier, it's just so nice to be on 3 bases, and this is something that he should do. We've seen that BBoongBBoong is a player that's able to throw back these attack timings with the gateway, a follow-up with the air unit, so definitely something that the Genius should consider in this decision. At this point, third base makes perfect sense. And he's even starting his tech. We have the Twilight Council, we have the Robotics Bay.
Even Hallucination to continue to scout his opponent. Now, because of this, I really like, you know, his opponent has now reacted, oh, you're killing the rocks, you're not moving out. The timing that you would have hit if you're going to attack me, you've missed it. So I know you're taking a third, so he's trying to force cancels on the Nexus, but Genius is on top of it, man. Oh, almost catching all those early. He's just barely messed it up.
I really like what he's doing here. He's not only delaying the expansion, but he's taking down a pylon, and he's keeping those sentries on their toes.
Yeah,
very
he's
well
using
done.
a lot of sentry energy right now. He's going to get this pylon, and he's going to actually get out with a lot of his Zerglings, too.
Yeah. Impressive.
Delays the Nexus. A great little run by there for BBoongBBoong.
I'm not quite sure. Do you think he could have killed a few of these sentries? He had a lot of Zerglings inside the force field, so at this point it looked like he was trying to go for it, but then he decided to just run out, but I think he could have sniped some of them.
He could have definitely gotten 1 or 2. With the +1 though and the Zealots there, he wanted to save the Zerglings, and the question is, are the Zerglings really worth saving? Because now they don't really serve a purpose that much, but I guess he decided that Zerglings were worth saving because he wants to put some pressure on now with these Roaches. But, I mean, the Genius is going to have a wall up here, so yeah, I guess he could have potentially sniped some sentries.
With the Zerglings, he now still has a little bit of map control, so he is just kind of safe. He can scout everything and just make use of the speed links in order to detect if there's maybe an attack once again. Remember on the Tiga Shipyard, we had this Nexus fake, so he's not quite 100% sure if Genius is trying something like this once again. He does not know about all the tech buildings in the base as we do, but yeah, I think he could have killed a few of these sentries. But now we have extended thermal lance, we have bling, +2 attack, all these upgrades that he just can get because of the wall in that you just pointed out.
Yep, and you know, because he scouts that Spire, he's going to be able to alter his build really nicely here, depending on what he wants to do. Probably will add a Templar Archives fairly soon. And to be perfectly honest, I loved the choice for double Phoenix Scout because he knew his opponent would have Spores up because he already went for that faster Stargate and committed to the Phoenix. So to go for the double Hallucination there was the only way he was going to be able to see the Spire. He found it. I do not believe he saw the 4th base of his opponent, though, so now he's making additional cannons. He's preparing to defend. A Nidus network goes down.
Very, very interesting. Something that we saw occasionally at the 3rd base. There are a few spots where you can place down a Nidus. He does not have an Overlord in position, though, so he will need to move an Overseer if he wants to get a little bit of vision so that he can place down the Nidus. One thing that we see on Entombed Valley quite often is that on on Hive Tech, a lot of Zerg players will decide to go for Ultralisk Tech, which in my opinion is not the best choice, but I think with a Spire in the picture we'll definitely see Broodlords here. 1 or 2 Ultralisks are sometimes really good in order to kill force fields, to just make sure that he can't split your army, because at this point in time with the Hive Tech usually what you have to deal with is the 4th base. You don't even try to attack the 3rd, but it all revolves around the 4th base of the Protoss player. So this is something where a combination of 1 or 2 Ultralisks for the force fields, ground units and the Broodlords is perfect. But it's going to be interesting to see how much damage he can do with the 1 Nidus network.
Yeah, he sees the Nidus. Now, I think what he was considering doing with the Nidus was just doing a forward Nidus, like a forward pylon, and attacking with Hydras to reinforce more quickly. But now that it's been spotted and he's missed his timing, I don't think, he's just going to make 12 spines here. He's going to hold his 4th. He may be able to use the knights now for counterattacks, but the key again is going to be positioning here. And like you were saying, yeah,
15. This kind of reminds me of a game that I've casted between Killer and Nesty, where Nesty in the end had roughly 40 spine crawlers. So we now see a very, very well positioned Nidus network, but with all these spine crawlers, he definitely made sure that there's no way that Genius can attack right now.
This Nidus position will also spread some creep to possibly deny the Nexus, depending on if he gets queens out there. He's trying to force the units out of position. Well, this just isn't going to work.
No.
But that's fine. It doesn't really lose that much for him. He's actually buying time here to get the Greater Spire up.
He's getting additional 6 spine crawlers at this point. No, 8 actually. Yeah. So we have 23 already in total.
He's going to have a ton of spines. And this is what, I said from the very beginning, is Zerg kind of has to play this style where you make a ton of spines, go into the late game. There's motherships, archons, and you just desperately try to kill the Protoss fourth. It's a game of positioning in a matchup where that's not often the case. And it looks like GS is not going to wait, going for these spines right away. There are only a few Mutalisks and Corruptors out, so the Colossi can just basically do whatever they want and bully these spines. And he's actually going to attack.
Bold decision nonetheless.
Yeah, he's going to attack here. He's just going for it. He's not wasting any time.
He is on the assumption that he has the firepower to pull through here, and he might just be able to do it.
He very well might, man. I think he's actually...
He did it already.
He's already seen it. He's like, you don't have that many Corruptors, and I have a lot of Colossi. Now he's forced all these Corruptors out, but there's so many Stalkers.
The positioning is brilliant for Genius.
It's beautiful, man. This is actually a great decision. The Broodlords are on the way. When he saw, you don't have that many Corruptors, and therefore you won't likely have Broodlords, and this is... no pun intended, a genius decision to go for this attack. There is a Nidus in play to go for a counterattack, but frankly, he doesn't have enough units.
Usually as a Protoss player, when you see this many spine crawlers, you just back off immediately, but Genius, he judged the situation perfectly well, and he positioned his Colossi and the Stalkers so darn well. It was impressive. As soon as the Corruptors were in the game, he suddenly couldn't use them anymore because the Stalkers were between the Corruptors and the Colossi. Very well positioned here, and a beautiful decision to attack at this point in time.
Blinks in, and all of the units dying to Colossi that try to support the Broodlords. There's way too many Stalkers, 33 in fact.
He's trying to transfuse, but it's just not enough. He's
dancing the units.
Supply.
Oh, Genius has done it. A really smart choice. Completely outthinking his opponent here, outscouting him. GG. Genius takes the first set in this group.
A brilliant performance today by BBoongBBoong, but in the end, it's the experienced player who takes the first set with 2-1. Well played by Genius here.
Really well played. I cannot believe he attacked there. He just really, really read his opponent well. And BBoongBBoong, man, he saw right through him. He saw right through what BBoongBBoong was trying to do. He was trying to buy time, and Genius said, no, you don't have enough Corruptors. I'm just going to kill you now. I have so many Colossi. And he even continued to produce Colossi after scouting the Spire, which means that he read that his opponent was not using the Spire for Mutalisks, but also he just knew, okay, you're going to try to get a Greater Spire, get a 4th base, and play like most players do on this map. You're not going Mutalisks. I'm going to continue Colossus production. Super smart moves by Genius. Wow.
And consider the timing here. As we've seen, the Greater Spire was just about to finish, and we already had the first Broodlords morphing. So if he would have attacked, like, let's say 20 seconds later, suddenly he would have had to face Broodlords as well. So the attack timing was brilliant. Even though we had the Spine Crawlers, he hit this perfectly well. And with the Broodlords in the picture, suddenly he would have been hard-pressed. He could not really have blinked because there were too many Spine Crawlers. He can't blink into them. But with just killing one after another before the Broodlords are there, very well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Great positioning. I mean, in general, Genius's play was just flawless in that final game. I didn't see any mistakes in his play at all. He actually did everything correctly. His force fields that one time when the Zerglings came in, I'm like, all right, that was the one time he made a slight mistake. If his force was a little bit better, it would have been better for him. But obviously, we're going to take a 5-minute break, guys. Don't go anywhere. When we get back, we'll have our other two players. Should be exciting.
Reaper. 发行 Reaper. 发行 发行